Good evening, Chairwoman Carter, ladies and gentlemen of the Freeholder Board, Bruce Patterson, Garwood, New Jersey. Previous meeting, you did have the Cap Bank on there, and the public got a moment to speak, and I did talk about where, thanks to Christie and his toolbox, Governor Christie and his toolbox, that he had a 2% cap on the budget. I know Director Taylor talks about a 3.5% versus 2% in 1977, where everybody glosses over on that. But anyway, but Christie actually wanted to place this cap in effect, therefore foregoing any cap bank requirements. What this cap bank means, and I have another issue too with this, but anyway, what the cap bank means is that you're setting aside a dollar figure, although it's not money itself, but that dollar figure, if your back's against the wall, and it's a rolling average, I think 2 years, your back's against the wall, because of this cap bank, you're able to say, hey, I can actually increase taxes even more than what is required. And that's what hurts the taxpayer. Great for the government, but the government is not here to thrive. It's the taxpayers, it's us. You should be paying attention to us. This cap bank resolution, you should be voting no on. Bottom line, it makes no sense. From what I understand, you're not drawing any monies this year on the cap bank resolution, but last year you actually did. You increased, because this budget was such a failure last year, I think you pulled out 1.8 million so you could bang the taxpayers additional money. Now, actually a true question involved with this one sentence, and I know Director Taylor is going to come up, but I'm going to ask her ahead of time to please explain it in English so we can understand it, because I'm sure you guys won't understand it and the public won't understand it. And so I asked her for at least some kind of a loose explanation. So what I'm going to ask, it says increasing the tax levy up to 3.5% over the previous year's county tax levy. So I talked on that last half of the sentence about it, and establishing cap bank, which I asked you to vote no on. But I'd like an explanation of what that first half of the sentence is. Thank you very much.
Director Taylor.
Through you, Madam Chair. The cap that the county works off of, first and foremost, is very different than the cap that municipalities have to operate off of. Counties, again, have to test between what is known as the 1977 cap and what's commonly known as the 2010 cap. And we have to use the more restrictive of the two. Hence, the 77 cap is what is reflected in the 2013 budget, and it is less than the 2% cap that most municipalities are familiar with. The levy that we are utilizing includes the cap bank resolution, which increases our appropriations over $3.4 million. Anything that we do not utilize up to that $3.4 million goes into the subsequent budget year. It's important to note, as Mr. Patterson pointed out, the 2013 budget does not utilize any cap from the prior year. The budget that is presented this evening, as well as the cap calculations, were approved by the state of New Jersey. And the outline of the cap is actually in the budget document. It is part and parcel of the adopted document that is printed for members of the public to review. It goes through the summary of the levy cap in lay terms. It outlines the deferred charges. It outlines all of the allowable charges that we can use. And it is, I believe, approximately 8 pages into the overall adopted budget. It goes through each of the calculations, the positives, the negatives, and the net result. The net result essentially is that under the 1977 cap, we're able to raise taxes up to $317 million. Under the 2010 cap, commonly known as a 2% cap, we're able to raise taxes up to $320 million. We are not raising taxes up to $320 million. This budget is less, the taxes that is reflected in the 2013 budget is less than the 2% cap. And that includes the cap bank resolution. All that resolution does is provide financial flexibility so that the board can opt to use it or not, but it has it as a planning tool for the subsequent budget year.
Thank you. Seeing no one else, I will formally close this portion of the meeting.
Madam Chair, could I make a comment on that, please?
Go right ahead.
I have to disagree with Mr. Patterson's opinion on this resolution. I believe it would be a dereliction of our duty to not pass it. Inasmuch as the department had said, it gives us flexibility. We can't predict where we will be a year from now, what will happen, and to not have this flexibility available, I think would be shortchanging the public in this county going forward. So I support this resolution, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. May I have a motion to adopt resolution 2013-313?
So moved.
Been